Oh, magandang gabi. Basically, kayo rin ang nandun kagabi, ano? Wow. Uulitin ko yung sinabi ko kahapon. Napakaswerte nyo dahil you have another powerhouse panel here, no? Ano ba yung origin story nyo as directors, no? Did you grow up wanting to be a director? If not, how did you get there? If so, how did you plan on becoming a director? So was it an easy transition, or were you doing both at the same time, writing and directing?
It
Jun Lana
wasn't
muna.
it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy transition for me. Lalo na nung marami na akong projects na sinusulat, parang I was kind of pigeonholed as a writer. So when I was trying to sell myself as a director, it was difficult. And during my time, we didn't have the opportunities that the young filmmakers now have. Yung may Cinemalaya, may Cinepanalo, wala eh. So meron lang yata noon mall fund. Pero marami akong experiences, marami akong natutunan sa sets, sa dami ng mga directors na parang ang dami kong natutunan sa kanila. Just, like example with Direct Marilu, the 4 years that I was working on with her on 4 projects, one after the other. It was like going to film school. But I felt somewhat insecure about my film language. Gusto ko talagang mag-aral. What I did was I wrote a really long letter to Mother Lily. Nagsusulat ako ng sa Regal Films kasi kailangan ko I didn't have the budget to go to, I wanted to study abroad. So sabi ko, if she could lend me the money so that I could study abroad. And sinabi ko sa kanya na, if you do this, I will be your biggest investment. And I will make sure na ibabalik ko sa inyo yung tutulong niya sa akin. And she did. She sent me to school. I went to the University of Melbourne. And I studied filmmaking there. And then saka ako bumalik dito. And by the time I returned, doon na nagsimula yung mga projects ko.
Can you mention your first director credit? What was your first director credit?
Yung first director credit ko talaga gigil. Na sinut ko sa Boracay nung time na bumabagyo. So wala akong nakuha na exterior shots ng Boracay. Panay interior. So yung Boracay scenes ko na exterior, kinunan ko sa Subic. Kasi pinapunta ako doon, pinalipad ako ni Mother doon. No? Gawa ka ng summer film, pero bumabagyo. Pinapunta niya ako, wala akong makunan kasi bumabagyo. Yun yung unang-una kong pelikula.
Direct Chito muna. Sige. Ano yung origin story mo?
God, history na talaga to. I used to study in the States, but when I came back, I worked for, I don't know if you guys remember, Film Center, ECP. I worked with another possible national artist, si Boy Noriega, yung head namin. He was also a writer, di ba? And then some people approached me, and I produced my first film. I directed my first film, rather, Private Show. So, yun na lang. That's how I started. From doing programming, programming films for showing before, mga art films. Kahit na yung pelikulang Gandhi, yung mga unang noon. Star Wars, I remember we showed it. But there were also a lot of Viva Max movies before there. That we were programming. Marami kaming sinihan noon sa Film Center. I think we had one main theater and 2 small theaters. So we have to book and parang program for each theater. So we had an art studio, a regular film studio, and a special studio for showing special films. A special could be experimental or anything, or docu or what. But of course, everybody remembers the bold movies. That's how I started, really. And then when I worked on Private Show, diretso na ako. Parang ganun nangyari.
At what point did you decide you wanted to be a director?
I studied it abroad. I started college pa lang. I was enrolled sa UP. Kaya lang UP in those days and everywhere else, walang film courses. In those days, broadcasting lang ang mapupuntahan mo. So I tried to get something abroad. And even abroad was not very fun. There were some universities that were very hard to get in, that offered it. So when I managed to get in, doon ako nagstay for about 3 years just to study. More of cinema courses than, small lang yung technical, more of cinema courses. Hindi ko alam nung sa inyo. Kasi later years na marami ng ibang programs eh. Sa akin, more of the cinema studies. Yung mga professor ko, yung mga nagsulat ng mga Hitchcock, ng mga Citizen Kane. Of course, they were old. Very old. Ng kaibigan ng asawa ni Julie Andrews ngayon, sino yan? I forgot the name. The director of Victoria. Yeah, that was our special treat. We were shown film that we didn't know what it was. And then suddenly, ay, Victoria pala. That time ng ganun. So, talagang puro film na ang buhay ko ever since. So when I got here and I was offered, syempre I grabbed it immediately. Ganun lang. Pero at that time, just could iba pa ang budget ng film. Sobrang mura pag gumawa ng pelikula noon. My first fee was even, my God, maliit lang talaga. Ano nga how much? Bakit BIR ka ba? Hindi, that time talagang 10 to 50,000 lang ang director. No, 10 to 50.
But we have to remember, ibang dekada to.
You have to remember, ang mga mahal noon, ang mga Lino Brocay, Manuel Borlasa, yung mga ganong klaseng tao. Mahal na yun. Ang pelikula noon, you can do it for $1 million, less than $1 million. You can make a film for 500,000, yun lang. Ano yan film Hindi digital Pelikula.
But just to put that in perspective, siguro mga panahon na yun, mga 25 centimos lang ang jeepney ride, no? So, yung 500,000, it's not 500,000 today.
Ay, hindi.
Oo,
Sinihan
of course.
noon, wala pang dos eh.
So it may not have been such a small amount. Anyway, sige,
So, after the history, next naman, modern naman tayo.
sige. No, yeah, I'll ask you about the history. Pero
Nakakatanda!
sige, May, how did you get into movies?
Syempre, it started with a dream, a little girl wanting to be a director because I watched a lot of movies. I watched a lot of black and white films. Fan ako ng mga lumang pelikula, Gloria Romero, Rosemary Sonora. Yun yung mga favorite ko. Hindi ako natutulog paghapon. Nanonood ako ng I sneak. Nanonood ako ng mga panghapon
So
na.
batang-bata ka pa noon.
Bata
So
pa,
ano to?
yeah.
Lumalabas sa television?
Yes,
Or-
it was shown before, every afternoon. Ano yun? Sining, something like that. Basta parang tuwing hapon yun eh. So that's what I used to watch. And then, mahilig din ako manood ng mainstream movies. I was a Sharon Gaby fan. I watched a lot of Disney. Mas ganun yung mga films na enjoy kong panoorin. And I wanted to do the same. Gusto kong maging director eventually and do mainstream films. So, I studied film and audiovisual communication in UP. And then, nung time na yon, like what Direct June said, wala pa kaming opportunities like to join Cinemalaya and all. To make your own film, ano yan, Sanla Kotse, Sanla ano yan. And ang chance ko lang to become a director, at least in my view, was to enter a film outfit. And at that time, Star Cinema was just like 3 years old. So, I applied sa Star Cinema. I applied sa different film outfits, Octo Arts, Viva Films, ganyan. And Star Cinema was the first to call, and because it was new, and then nung in-interview ako, I went to the set of Mangarap Ka. It was a big scene. Namangha ako na parang, wow, ang laki ng pelikula, ang daming talents. Naging talent pa ako. Parang bigla na lang, kunwari taga UP Baguio ka, wave ka na rin So, I knew I wanted to be in film. I wanted to get in Star Cinema. And so I applied. And sinabi sa akin, sabi ko gusto ko maging assistant director. Sabi, Iha, wala ka pang alam. Hindi ka pa pwede maging assistant director. Mag-PA ka muna. Siyempre, in my mind, ang naisip ko noon, ang PA, siya yung nagtitimpla ng kape. Laging yun ang sinasabi, taga-timpla ng kape ang PA. Hindi naman ako taga-timpla ng kape, pero taga-distribute ako ng baterya, masking tape, gamot, etc. Nagbibilang sakay sa jeep, nagbibilang ng pagkain, nagtatakal ng kanin. I went through that. Nag-PA ako, script con, until I became an assistant director eventually. But parang talagang, and then sinabi sa akin nun, mag-PA ka muna because magandang makita mo yung roles of the other, yung parang iba-ibang jobs dun sa roles sa making a film. Mamaya, you wanna be a director now, but eventually, because you're a PA, you might wanna be a production designer, or you wanna be a production, or you might wanna be a producer. So, pwedeng mag-iba yung yung mindset mo. But I was really sure about it kasi after experiencing we did Magic Temple. That was my very first film as a PA. And I was very fortunate kasi I got to work with Direk Peke Galiaga and Direk Lori Reyes. It was a very great team to be for a first timer, for a newbie. So ang dami ko natutunan sa kanila. And I knew, gusto ko pa rin yung track na yon. So eventually, nag-script con, si Direk Jerry Lopez Sineneng, Direk Rory Quintos, they took me in, they trained me until I became an assistant director. Luckily, nung time na yon, the assistant directors all moved on to become directors. Kathy Garcia, all the other ADs in ABS-CBN.
Excuse me, how long did it take you from PA to assistant director?
I think it was maybe like to become a director from PA.
So, ilang years ka sa PA?
PA, I was a PA for a year and a half. And then I was a script con for about 2-3 years. And then assistant director. And then I trained as a director while being an assistant director. So it's like a backpack director.
So, totoo, you learned all of these different
Yes,
roles by
yes.
being a PA.
Yeah.
Oo,
Yeah.
Kasi entry level yan kahit sa television, entry level position yan.
Yes.
But it's really a chance to learn.
Yes. So I'm fortunate that I got to be an AD or got to work with different directors kasi ang dami ko natutunan from them. Si Direk Chito, isa ako sa mga naging AD na dumaan sa kanya.
Pass na yan.
So marami ako nakatrabahong directors na I'm very fortunate kahit na nagtagal bago ako talaga nakagawa ng first film ko. Marami akong natutunan na daanan na directors and I learned a lot from them. So, yun.
All right. Sige. Sigrid.
I think it was different from my experience kasi at that time, yun din, una walang internet. At that time, wala ring mga Cinemalaya at that time. I've always wanted to tell stories nung bata pa ako or siguro madaldal lang talaga ako. Tapos, only child noon. Tapos wala akong kachika, walang gusto. So, binabayaran ko yung mga ka-service ko noon ng mga 5 piso para, makinig sa kwento ko tungkol sa Prinsipeng Kamatis or whatever. So, I've always wanted to tell stories, just that I don't know kung ano yung path ko. And then, nung nag-college ako, ang hirap makapasa sa UP, no? Oo. So, nag-try ako ng theater kasi sabi, hindi siya, yung walang, mag-audition. At that time, nag-theater talaga ako, nag-acting ako. And gusto ko talagang sumikat din bilang artista. So, nung nag-theater ako, hindi daw ako kagandahan. So, hindi ako sumikat bilang artista. At sabi ko, hindi po pwede yon. Kailangan sumikat ako. So, tinry ko, nag-audition pa rin. So, mahusay ako, ha? Oo. Mahusay ako sa theater. Walang nakakaalam nun. So, pero, tinry ko naman, sumikat naman ako ng konti dun sa theater kahit hindi ako masyadong lead. And then, na-discover ako ni Love Diaz. Si Love Diaz yung gumagawa ng mga 10-hour films and 12-hour films. So, nakuha niya akong artista noon. Tapos, sabi ko, opportunity ko na to makapasok sa pelikula. Kasi at that time, mahirap po talaga for sa mga katulad namin na maka-encounter agad si Direk May, lalo na si Direk Chito, si Direk Junla, nasa textbook na sila eh. Kumbaga parang paano lalapit sa kanila? Hindi ko alam yung magle-letter, parang ganyan. Parang hello po, hi, I'm Sigrid. Parang bibong nakakainis lang. So nung time ng kay Love Diaz, kinuha niya akong artista. Malay ko bang isang taon ginagawa pala yung, walang cut pala yung ano, no, mga 10 minutes ka na kumakain ng palay, nakikinig sa radyo. Walang cut. Kala ko ganun ng filmmaking. So sabi ko, pwede ba akong mag-PA dito sa pelikulang to? Tapos akala ko talaga yung pelikula parang pakikibaka. So at that time, literal storyteller ako sa mga malls. Nagkukwento ako, meron nun sa mga malls na for kids, so storyteller ako. And then yun yung sinisweldo ko, dinadala ko sa set. Dahil ganun daw ang filmmaking. Yung sweldo mo, yun yung merienda namin. Kaya kailangan akong magtrabaho. So, iba yung indie film noon. So, gustong-gusto namin yung ginagawa namin. And naniniwala kami sa director. Doon nakuha yung training na parang, ganito pala ang filmmaking. Ibibigay mo yung sweldo mo, magtatrabaho ka, mangungutang ka, para mabuo ang pelikula. Tapos, yun, naging artista ako doon, tapos naging PA ako, naging second assistant. Actually, naging clapper muna ako. Ano kung clapper? Wala nga kaming budget sa clapper. So, gumawa ako sa wood, sa paper, ganyan. But then, as a clapper, dun mo pala matututunan yung sequence numbers. Si Lorna Sanchez yung AD ko na AD ni Direk Chito, na ilang beses kong sinasabi na, baka naman, pwede ako kay Direk Chito. Hindi ka nga po pwede. So sinasabi ko talaga na, pwede ba mag-audition kahit extra man lang, hindi ka magugustuhan ni Direk Chito. Sabi ko, wait lang, gagalingan ko naman, para naman. So, alam mo yun, yung parang, hindi ba ako qualified? So, nagpakabibo talaga ako, like from clapper, naging PA, naging second assistant director, to assistant director, to PM, to PD. Ang title ng pelikula, Evolution of the Filipino Family. Evolution ng pamilyang Pilipino. Pero for me, it's the evolution of Sigrid Bernardo. Kasi siya 3 taon, nagka-jowa na ako. Wala pa akong jowa nung nagka-jowa. So I think yun yung journey ko lang from Love Diaz, na akala ko yun yung film, na ganun talaga. Sabi ko kay Love, ganito ba yung pelikula na talagang walang cut, no? Tapos 5 hours, 12 hours. Kasi kami yung pinakamahaba ni Love eh. Tapos sabi niya, sino nagsabi na 2 oras lang ang pelikula? Iba pala, ganun pala yun. So, pwede pala. So, after nun, nag-Candela Cruz ako, nag-assistant director ako, na iba rin, wild yung can, oo. Iba rin, fuck talaga. Iba yung style niya na talagang wild. Tapos, after na nag-script continuity ako kay Direk Ellen Ongkeko, and then after that, nag-teleserye ako, nag-assistant director na ako. And then at that time, wala pa yung mga online commercials. So meron tinatawag na AVP, audiovisual presentation. Parang yung pa yun, mga companies na nag-assistant director ako. And then I think yung first taste ko talaga ng pag-direct sa audiovisual presentation, ang sweldo ko furniture, kasi furniture yung dinirect ko. So hanggang ngayon nasa akin pa yung lamesa na sweldo ko. So sobrang memorable sa akin. Dahil sabi sa akin, tatagal yan hanggang mamatay po kayo. In fairness, hanggang ngayon nandun pa rin yung lamesa na yon. So after po noon, I think yung first kong film is sa Cinemalaya talaga, yung first short film ko, yung Babae ang title, which is a lesbian film. And kasi yung Cinemalaya, ang call for entries noon, essay writing contest lang muna. The first Cinemalaya. So ano ba naman yung essay lang? At that time, nasa tanghalang Pilipino ako, scholar din ako, nag-arte-arte ako. Baka lang sakali, sumikat rin ako sa field na yun. Kaso hindi eh. So, nag-try ako, may call for entries ng Cinemalaya, essay writing, tatanggap ako. Tapos sabi ko, shit, sino magpo-produce nito? So, yung classmate ko sa tanghalang Pilipino, pinroduce. So, nakakapagawa ko ng short film. And I think yun yung nag-pave ng way sa akin sa independent film at that time. Yung first Cinemalaya, yung Babae. And then, the next year, ginawa ko yung Ang Huling Chacha ni Anita na script. Pero hindi siya nakapasok for 8 years, no? Oo. Tapos sabi ko talaga, binasag niya yung dreams ko. And then, pero during that time, sabi ko, baka short films muna yung dapat gawin. And mag-train pa ako and nakagawa pa ako ng other short films. And then, 2012 nung nakapasok sa Cine Filipino, dumadami na yung film festivals at that time. I think yun yung nag-start talaga yung career ko sa Ang Huling Chacha ni Anita.
Yung sa Cinemalaya. So that
Sa,
really,
no, Cine Filipino naman
Cine
yung
Filipino.
yung Ang Huling Chacha. Pero yung short film po na babae sa Cinemalaya, the first Cinemalaya Film Festival.
Oo.
Yan.
Pero ang dami mo nang ginawa bago ka nakagawa ng
Oo nga
sariling
po
pelikula.
eh.
Okay.
Opo.
Yeah. Okay, I'll ask you more about that. Si Zig naman.
Ako naman, galing ako ng probinsya eh. Mahilig akong manood ng mga pelikula doon sa probinsya pa. Pero syempre dahil walang
Anong probinsya?
sa Isabela po ako. Ang layo pa that time, walang internet. So parang 12 hours papuntang Manila. So hindi mo talaga papangarapin, di ba? Tapos dahil wala ka namang tao dun sa paligid mo na nagsasabi na pwedeng pangarapin, na may course pala dyan. So hindi yun yung pinangarap. So nag-aral ako sa UP Baguio Com Arts, major in Jorn. Kasi that time medyo mahiyain pa ako. So ang pangarap ko talaga that time ay magsulat. Gusto ko sa likod lang, parang gano'n, hindi nakikita. Tapos, ginagapang naman yung Jorn. Parang gusto ko naman, parang gano'n. Tapos pagdating ng third year, gumawa kami ng short film. Tapos ako yung writer. Tapos dun siya nag-start na parang requirement na yung trip to Quiapo ni Sir Ricky. Tapos almost memorize mo na siya kasi 4 na beses mong binasa. Parang gano'n. Tapos yun na yung gusto mo na. Nag-short film, tapos pinasok sa That Mob nung kay Festival ni Cannes. Tapos nanalo siya. So para siyang tapik sa balikat na, uy, pwedeng pangarapin. Tapos, hirap na kasi ako sa Jorn that time. Inglesan eh. So, so eto na lang tayo. Parang gano'n. Tapos, gumawa kami ulit ng short film. Tapos, siya ulit, nanalo lahat except best screenplay. Pero okay lang, parang gano'n. So parang, it feels like pwede. So after ko graduate sa UP Baguio, nagpunta ako ng Manila nang walang kakilala. Gusto kong makapasok sa industriya, pero yun yung mga mga mahirap na moments pagpasok sa industriya kasi mahirap talaga siya kapag wala kang kakilala, tapos hindi naman yun yung tinapos mo. So paano ka magsisimula? So nag-PA ako sa Mowel Fund. Tapos kaso sa ako napunta kay Sir Direk Nick De Ocampo. Kaso sa ako napunta sa museum. Tagabantay lang doon. Sabi ko, hindi naman pala siya nagpipelikula that time. So parang kailangan ko maghanap ng iba. Tapos baka mamaya makota ko. Kasi yun talaga na parang interviewee ko kasi si Direk Nick doon sa thesis ko that time. So syempre yun yung ginamit ko na parang baka pwede akong mag-PA, ganyan-ganyan. Tapos sige pwede, may work dito. Parang ganun. Tapos punta ako doon, yun nga, museum kami. So parang araw-araw akong pumapasok doon sa Mowel Fund. Nandun kami, nakabantay kami doon sa statwa ni Machete, di ba? Tapos parang wala namang nangyayari masyado. Tapos gusto ko talaga. Tapos wala. So, nag-PA ako sa ABC Sports, sa PBA. Kaso, hindi rin ako mahilig sa basketball. Kasi katan nun ni James Yap eh. Pero parang, wala naman hindi tumitibok-tibok yung puso mo. Parang ganon. May iba kang gusto. So, nag-enroll ako ng MA. Parang baka magkaroon ako ng network. Parang ganon. Philippine Studies, major in creative writing, and ang cognate niya, film. So habang nagaganon, naghahanap ka ng mararakitan, parang gano'n. Nagsimula ako na PA, tapos script con. Tapos, ang pangarap ko that time ay magsulat talaga ng script. Simulat sa Paul. Tapos, eto na, simula na ng mga Cinemalaya. So, may mga na-meet akong friends na magsisinimalaya. So, nag-volunteer ako. Free siya. Pero may workshop that time si Sir Bing dun sa UFO. Pero may bayad, 2.5. Ang malaki yung 2.5 that time kasi ang tuition ko sa MA 3.7 eh. So parang konti na lang tuition mo na ng isang SEM. Tapos so ang usapan namin ng kaibigan ko na director sa Cinemalaya, sige magpi-PA ako pero ikaw magbabayad ng workshop fee. Kaso, syempre yung Cinemalaya that time, katakot-takot, di ba? Nagkakautang yung mga filmmakers, tapos sanla ng lupa, sanla ng sasakyan. Tapos, syempre hindi ko na masingil yung kaibigan ko. So, wala na akong pambayad. Tapos, makulit si Eman nun. Charot. Kailangan mong magbayad bago. Nahiya akong pumasok doon sa workshop na hindi ako nabayad. Si Sir Bing, naka-project yung niya doon, yung number niya. sabi ko, tinext ko, kinapalan ko yung mukha ko. Sir, sabi ko, gusto ko talagang matutong magsulat. Sabi ko, pero wala pa akong pambayad ng workshop. So sabi ni sir, sige may Sunday clinic ako. Sabi niya, libre yon. So mag-PA ka muna. Sabi niya, tapos i-check mo. Pwede, so with that, para makaka-attend ka. So pagpunta ko ng Sunday, so hindi na ako nagpunta ng UFO. Hindi alam ni Emma na wala na akong planong pumasok. Pero nagte-text pa rin siya. Nagpunta akong ganyan, nandun sina Jim Libiran, yung mga nag-best film na ng Cinemalaya. Sabi ko, wow, nandun si Pepe noon, charot. Sabi ko, nandito pala yung mga winner, sabi ko. Parang secret group nila. Tapos, sa treehouse pa that time. Tapos, habang nag-workshop yung mga estudyante na serving doon, nasa kabilang table ako. Tapos pag nag-exercise, sumasagot ako. Pero ako talaga yung taga-bigay ng Xerox, parang gano'n, nagsi-Xerox, taga-kuha ng order nila, taga-bigay ng kape, parang gano'n. Tapos nasa kabilang table, sinasagutan ko yung exercises. Then after, kahit pagod na si serving, pinapacheck ko sa kanya. Tapos laging tama, medyo weird. Kasi dahil sakto, found story kasi, so para siyang creative nonfiction, which is yun yung background ko dun sa Jorn. So hindi masyadong mahirap, parang pasok na pasok. So every time na nagpapa-exercise siya, napaperfect ko. Hirap na hirap yung iba. Charot. Kasi, sabi ko parang, bakit ganon? Tapos after that, tuwa ako one time kasi syempre taga Cruz na Ligas ako eh. Tapos may natanggap akong text after na hindi pa ako legit na nag-workshop kay Sir Bing noon. PAPA ako, ilang batch yon ng mga umupo-upo sa kanya. Tapos one time nagising ako tapos may nabasa ako na text, number. Pero sabi niya, hi Zig, sabi niya, this is Jeffrey Gitorian, sabi niya, parang may gagawin akong pelikula, pwede ka bang kunin as scriptwriter? Sabi ko, para akong nananaginip kasi kakagising ko lang noon. Kasi syempre Jeffrey Gitorian yun, di ba? Kubrador, parang pinag-aaralan nyo din, di ba? Kasama nila Direk Chito. Mga alamat yun eh. Tapos, nag-text siya. Tapos, dahil number, syempre baka mamay scam. Tapos, parang totoo kaya ito? Tapos, hindi ako nagre-reply. Nag-text ko, opo, ako nga po ito. Sabi ko, saan niyo po nakuha yung number ko? Sabi ko. Tapos, ni-refer daw ako ni Sir Bing. Parang gano'n. Tapos, sabi ko, alam mo yung, na-excite ako and at the same time, natakot. Kasi baka mamaya yung ipapasulat niya, hindi ko pala alam. Tapos mag-first and last project, di ba? Parang gano'n. So, sabi ko, Direk, sabi ko, pwede bang mag-send kayo ng synopsis? Sabi ko, nang gusto niyong gawin. Sabi ko, kasi baka mamaya hindi ko alam. Yun yung posas that time sa Cinemalaya. Hindi lang siya napayagan that time ng ABS na gawin. So, pinasa kay Lau. So, kay Lawrence Fajardo na siya. Tapos after, dun ako nag-start. Nasulatan ko sila sa Posas. Tapos kay Adlihano, na teacher ko sa UP. Tapos after, ang baba ng grade na binigay niya sa akin sa scriptwriting class ko. Pero after, kinuha niya akong writer. 'Di ba? Parang loko. Mababa yung grade. Tapos biglang after ng SEM, minessage na ako na pwede ko daw ba siyang sulatan. Sabi ko, totoo ba? Parang di ka naman naniniwala. Pero yun yung QWERTY. Tapos ad ignorantiam kay Sir Bing. Tapos tatlong tungkol sa kapulisan. Tapos nauna akong writer pero naswertihan ako kasi then yun extra na yung sumunod, parang ganon. Tapos naswertihan ako kasi mahuhusay yung mga naging nauna kong directors. Tapos natuto talaga ako nun. Pero bago ako kunin ni Direk Jeffrey, ganun din, nag-PA ako, nag-script ko, nag-PD pa nga ako, nag-cinematog ako. Parang gusto ko lang malaman kung paano yung nangyayari doon sa loob that time. Pero hindi ko pa gusto dati na mag-direct. Gusto ko lang ng writer kasi parang hindi ko kaya na kausapin yung lahat ng taong ito, 100 plus, parang gano'n. Tapos ipasasabihin mo kung ano yung vision mo, parang gano'n. Nahirapan ako, nahiya pa ako. Until may mga times na sinulat mo yung script, tapos iba yung lumalabas kapag na-direct na. Tapos dahil bata pa ako that time, hindi ko ma-manage yung pakiramdam. Tapos parang feeling ko that time mas healthy kapag sinasabi mo dun sa director. Tapos sinasabi ko, Direk, sabi ko, parang hindi kasi yan yung gusto ko dun sa script. Ganito, ganyan, 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 ganyan. At the end of the day, syempre di ko pa alam yung pagkakaiba ng writer-director kasi ang turo ay story is king, di ba? Ito yung kaluluwa, ito dapat yung nasusunod, yung mga parang ganon. So, laban na laban ka kasi feeling mo kapag wala yung script, wala talaga yung pelikula. So, pinupush ko yung sarili ko. Pero, gusto kong malaman kasi yung dynamics ng writer-director, paano, parang ito yung gustong sabihin, iba, it feels like iba yung lumabas, parang ganon. So, doon nag-start na parang, o sige, para hindi ako masyadong nasasaktan, itry mo nga mag-direct, parang ganon. So, sinubukan lang, pero mas challenging na after. Kasi magkaiba pala talaga sila. Na sa writing, words yung gamit mo, pwede mong isulat lahat ng nai-imagine mo, pero pag i-direct mo na siya, hindi pala lahat ng nakasulat ay pwedeng mangyari. Yung parang ganon. So, dun ko na naintindihan yung director that time. Na parang hindi porket ang ganda-ganda ng pagkakasulat mo, kahit ano pa yan, pero kapag ibabangga mo na dun sa realidad, dun sa logistics and all, magkaiba pala talaga. Yung parang ganon. So, dun nag-start. Tapos, sumabay ako dun sa gumawa ako ng short film, yung Missing. Sinimalaya siya pero hindi na-gets ng mga tao. Tapos ito pa yung mga walang pera kasi mga barkadahan, mga 5,000 lang yung yung budget ninyo. Tapos nung hindi nagustuhan ng mga tao, tapos kasi hindi nila nagigets. It's supposed to be gay film na tungkol sa desaparecido. Tapos narinig ko dun sa audience, sinasabi ng isang nanay, sabi niya, magkapatid sila, no? Sabi niya. Sabi ko, ay, baka may something wrong dun sa showing, parang ganun. Baka hindi talaga ako pang direct, parang ganun. Tapos, nanalo ng urian. So parang, alam mo yung umatras ka na, kasi baka feeling mo pang sulat ka lang talaga. Tapos, nung gumawa ka, parang walay, parang gano'n. Tapos nung nalo yan, ay, pwede. May naka-appreciate yung parang gano'n. Laban ulit tayo. Yung parang gano'n. So, dun na nag-start yung parang tuloy-tuloy na. Pero that time, nagsusulat pa rin ako dun sa mga kakilala na na director. Pero sinusubukan ko ng mag-direct talaga ng pelikula.
So, Missing yung first director's credit.
Na short film, oo. Pero before noon, may ginawa ako gay film, Huling Halik. 40,000 lang. Pero, nung ginawa ko, may pakiramdam ka kasi na dahil ang dami mong nabasa ng mga libro, kasi dahil gusto kong gumawa ang dami kong nabasa ng mga libro, pero wala akong nami-meet ng mga practitioners. May pakiramdam ka na alam mo, parang ganon. Tapos nung ginawa ko na siyang ganyan, ni line of action hindi ko alam. Saliwa pala, parang ganon. Kasi wala ka namang kakilala, wala namang nag-check. Tapos nung pinalabas, ang lakas pa ng loob ko sa UP Film, sa Cine Adarna. Pinalabas na ganyan, may nag-require ng mga teachers. Tapos nung pinalabas, parang naipamuka sa akin na nung feeling ko nung ginagawa ko, parang ang dami-dami kong alam at ready na akong gumawa ng pelikula. Tapos nung pinanood ko, parang pinamuka sa akin ng pelikula na ang dami-dami ko pang hindi alam at kailangang alamin bago gumawa. Which is tama nga kasi hanggang ngayon inaalam ko pa rin kung paano gumawa ng pelikula.
Okay. Thank you, Zig. Oh, Pepe.
I think yung sa akin is a little bit different. So I started making films in high school for Filipino class pa nun. Mga Ibong Adarna the movie, Florante at Laura the movie, Noli Fili. Mga ganun na kami nun Kasi student number ko kasi 2005.
Oo na, ito na, mas bata.
No, but yun po. So we started. So doon nagsimula and then nung high school nasa drama club ako. Pabida rin ako nung high school. No, but I was in drama club. And then yung moderator namin doon si Miss Jeannie Natividad. She was a terror teacher, yung nagtatapon ng silya. But she loved her students. And she was very nurturing. And one day, 16 ako nun, she said, ay may workshop sa CCP, si Nestor Torres, teaching playwriting, sali ka. So she picked me up sa bahay ko in her old Beetle, drove me to CCP, me and the friend, and she applied for us. And then ang sabi sa kanya, hindi kami pwedeng pumasok kasi we were too young. At 16, dapat 18 and above. Sabi niya, wait lang. So she goes up and dahil terror teacher nga siya, 5 minutes later she goes down and she goes, pwede na, go na, okay na kayo. She probably shouted at the people at CCP. Kawawa sila. But that was my first workshop. And then at that workshop, I met a lot of really good writers. One of the writers, her name was Jean Lim. She recently passed away. She had a short film script called No Passport Needed. She called me kasi gusto niyang, she wanted me to act in the film. And I read the script, sabi ko, pwedeng ako na lang mag-direct. And so she gave it to me. And then friend niya si Boji Pascua, we were able to cast Kuya Boji, who was growing up watching Batibot, was a big fan of. And then that film got into Cinemalaya. So I was lucky at 17 years old. Yun, it's an 8-minute film. Ang budget namin noon 8,000 pesos. Everything was borrowed and malaki na yun, no? 8,000 pesos. But and most of it went to food actually. But yun, and then after Cinemalaya, I got to meet so many directors, producers. One of the producers was Gang Badoy of Rock Ed, and then Gang was doing a documentary about jails. Kasama namin dun sina Lord, si Tado, and so we were going around jails from Baguio to Davao.
Lord de Vera
Lord
and
de Vera.
Tado Jimenez.
Tado, yes, and Gang made the fourth short.
Gang Kapati. Gang
Yes.
Badoy Kapati.
Yes. And so we were doing we made this documentary. I made a documentary about the dancing prisoners in Cebu. But in Davao, I met these two brothers who were being chased by the Davao Death Squad. And their names are Richard and Raymond, real names nila. And the day before I met them, their best friend had just been killed by the DDS. And I was shocked to learn that around I was 18, 19. They were also around the same age. So that inspired me to make what became my first feature film. At the time, I was doing the workshop with Sir Bing. Sa UP pa nun under, I think under Attorney Joji pa yata yun. Yes. So, yun. And then actually, ang sabi ko, when Sir Bing had asked us, ano yung mga kwentong pwede niyong gawing pelikula, I had asked him, I had said, well, I have a few ideas. This is one of them. Sabi niya, ito yun. And so I started writing that script, and then that got into Cinemalaya. I was fourth year college noon. So nagkataon na sabi ko, baka pwedeng nakuha ko na tong grant, baka pwedeng thesis ko na rin. So we made the film. It was the best but also the worst experience kasi nga wala talagang alam sa paggawa ng pelikula. Even after 4 years of film school, wala talagang alam. First day on set, that's very apparent. Wala ka talagang alam. It came to a point na yung 500,000 peso grant namin sa Cinemalaya ay naubos. Wala pa kami na-shoot ni isang eksenang okay. Wala, not a single scene. So I was about to back out. Nagagalit na sa akin si Direk Clarice. Tinatawagan na ako ni na Ava pa noon. And yun, I was being threatened with lawsuits. But no, so I had to persevere. I called for help. Si Amor Olaguer of Star Cinema because I had met her at the workshop before, she came in as a line producer and then set everything straight. So that became my first film, was at Cinemalaya. Hindi na siguro naintindihan ng mga tao sa Cinemalaya. Or baka hindi ko rin naintindihan personally. But that was my first film, and then then we were very lucky that got into Venice, and then the rest is history. Yeah.
Thank you. So, I'm discerning certain patterns here, no? Kasi ilan sa inyo binanggit na nag-umpisa kayo sa theater, no? You just joined the drama club and then gusto maging artista, etc. And then all of you...
Pwede pa rin po ngayon, Direk. Oo, baka naman.
Daming director
Mga
dito.
Direk.
And all of you have experience with writing, no? I suppose, no? Gusto ko lang ituhog dun sa usapan natin kahapon kasi it was so rich, no? We had even more writers last night. I think there were 6. No, they were all talking about, the loneliness of the writing process and yung angst nila, and then parang anak nila yan, no? And then turning it over as if for adoption, no, to the director, no. And then they had different reactions, conflicted feelings about pag binabago yung script, pag kinakata yung script, pag may dinadagdag, binabago, etc. No? Now, I wanna ask you, kasi kayo yung tagatanggap ng script, no? And then, some of you have experiences as writers. I think you're a co-writer of Gomburza, right? You write your own films, many of them, no? Like Your Mother's Son, you got credit. And Zig, of course, scriptwriter, etc. Now, but pag nasa kabila ka naman, you're receiving the script, no? Yung baby ng isang writer. Pinaghirapan niya yan for months, no? Kung ano nung ritual. The writers yesterday were talking about the rituals. You know, all the things that they do. They wear special clothes pag nagsusulat, kung ano namang ginagawa for inspiration, no? So they turn it over to you. How sensitive are you to their words? How faithful do you feel you need to be? Because you're also under different constraints, di ba? May demands din yung producers, etc. No, and then of course the pressure of deadlines and running time, minsan, no, or minsan talaga off, no. So tell us about that side of the process, no. The writers shared their side with the audience yesterday. Kayo naman, pag natanggap niyo yung script, what kind of collaboration do you have with the scriptwriter? Pag share a bit of that experience. Do you want them on the set? Pag may babaguhin, pinapabago nyo ba sa kanila or kayo nang gagawa because you're under time pressure, etc. No? And then, yun nga, pag may babaguhin, do you have to sit down with them and you treat them to dinner or what kind of interaction do you have with writers? Anyone can volunteer.
Ako po dun sa Firefly, first time ko kasi na gumawa ng pelikula na hindi ako yung nagsulat. So medyo yung adjustment. Though gumagawa ako ng TV series, tapos lahat, kapag dun sa TV series naman, gets ko na kasi na brainstorm nila yan, matagal nila yung ginagawa, tapos may proseso din sila. So, lagi makulit ako kapag kaganon. Lagi kong, kinoconsult. Lalo na sa TV. Gusto ko na i-revise nila, isulat nila, tatanggapin ko, saka ko gagawin. Kasi gusto ko na sabay kami. Kung saan man pumunta yung kwento, kung saan man pumunta yung thread, dapat alam namin pareho. Kasi ayokong umabot doon sa point, lalo na kapag series, ayokong umabot doon sa point na madi-dead end ako kasi kung ano-ano pinaggagawa ko, tapos saka ako hingi ng tulong. Parang ganon. So, sa series yon. Pero doon sa Firefly, first time, masigasig kasi first time ni Miss Ange na magsulat, masigasig siya. So, lagi namin pinag-uusapan, tapos nire-revise niya agad. Ganon siya kasipag. Na kapag, sa tingin ko kasi ganito, ganyan. So, binabago niya agad.
Si Ange Atienza.
Yes po. ABP ng Public Affairs. Though, kapag dumarating sa akin yung script, nung dumating sa akin yung Firefly, importante kasi sa akin na kailangan mahanap ko yung sarili ko doon sa loob. Nahirapan akong gawin yung isang bagay na hindi ko nakikita yung sarili ko, hindi saktong-saktong ako, kundi hindi ko nakikita yung sarili ko na gagawin ito, or di ka naniniwala, or hindi ka solve. Kasi mahirap gumawa ng pelikula. Itataya mo yung buhay mo, itataya mo, hindi yung pangalan kundi itataya mo yung oras, yung buhay mo. So, kailangan i-sureball mo na gusto mo siyang gawin. So, yun muna yung pinakauna kong hinahanap. Kung gusto ko ba itong ikwento or ako ba yun yung lagi kong pinaniniwalaan na yung kwento yung namimili ng kwentista na magkukwento sa kanya, and then kapag ikaw yung napili, ikaw gagawin mo yung best version niya, parang ganon. So it feels like ako yung napili, ikaw yung chosen one, so anong gagawin mo dito? So, puspusan mo siyang gagawin, parang ganon. Pero yun yung number one na na requirement ko, kailangan nakakakapit ako sa kanya. Kailangan alam ko kung ano yung core niya, alam ko yung puso at kaluluwa niya bago ko siya angkinin or akuin.
Agad ba nangyari yun sa Firefly or?
Hindi. Hindi. Parang twice. Kasi nung una hinindian ko siya. Mabot ako dun sa point na gusto kong gumawa ng bago. Gusto kong lumabas dun sa comfort zone ko. Kasi for the longest time, yung lahat ng mga sinulat ko, mga found yun Mga fan ako ng realism. Lahat ng nasulat ko, hanggang dun sa ginawa ko, ganun. So umabot ako dun sa point na mag-try nga ako ng iba. Kasi baka mamaya, ang weird naman, ito lang yung alam ko. Tapos hindi ko alam yung iba pang genre or iba pang pagkukwento.
Meron
So,
ka bang pinabago sa Firefly?
Nahirapan ako that time na magbago kasi boss ko yung nagsulat sa totoong buhay. Boss namin, super boss yung nagsulat. Tapos lagi siyang nandyan. Tapos sobrang mahal na mahal nila yung script. Hindi ko naman yan minimenos, parang gano'n. It's just that kahit sobrang ganda pa yan, kailangan ko mahanap yung sarili ko. Kasi ako yung gagawin ko yung reality eh. Kasi hindi pa natatapos dun sa script, parang ganon. Kasi dahil pinagdaanan ko yan, writer ako, alam ko na hindi pelikula yung script. Wala yung pinagkaiba dun sa iba pang departamento, 'di ba? Na kapag hindi yan nagawa, hindi yan magiging pelikula. So, ang ganda ganito. Parang, shit, paano kaya ito? So, nagmumuni-muni, nahanap ko yung sarili ko dun sa loob. So, once naman na nahanap mo na yung sarili mo dun sa loob, it feels like, parang kahit na anong mangyari, parang guided ka na. Parang ganun. Revisions, hindi ako nag-revise na isusulat ganito, ganyan, ganyan. Kasi sobrang sipag ni Miss Ange. Sasabihin niya, tapos nagigets naman niya agad. Tapos, ang nagiging revision ay pagdating doon sa set na. Kasi syempre parang ibabangga mo sa realidad yung eksena eh. Na parang nasulat ito na hanging bridge naman dapat yon, hindi naman siya bangin, parang ganon. Pero doon nangyari yung revision. Ako na yung namili ng bangin. Ako na namili ng Pierre. Ako na namili ng mga bagay-bagay in a way na mababago yung description. Parang maybe pareho pa rin yung mga linyahan, pero iba na yung mechanics.
Okay. I want to ask Direct Chito the same question dahil ikaw may pinakamahabang filmography dito. So marami kang nakatrabaho na writers, no? So anong is there a typical relationship for you with writers? Do you have a certain standard way of approaching them?
Okay. My first film was by Ricky Lee. My second film was with Bing Lao. My third film was with Ricky Lee. I worked with almost all the good writers, from Lualati Bautista to Roy Iglesias and Rodi Vera. So mostly I choose my writers. I receive so many scripts, but I don't like to do them. I only like to do films which I like. So I suppose I'm luckier because I get to choose my projects. Even now, kaya tagal ko nang hindi gumagawa ng pelikula because may napupusuan ako. Gusto ko ibalik yung mga araw ng drama ko, yung mga ganon. Kaya lang ang hirap, sa totoo lang. You guys have been very lucky because of the festival. But alam kong June and I can relate na most of the time of the year, ang hirap talaga. Sabi ko nga kay June kanina, magbenta na tayo ng barbecue para kumita tayo dyan. Kasi ang hirap na talaga ng benta ng ibang pelikula aside from those obviously na pinapanood. Like horror, love story, yung mga ganon. If you put Firefly and Gumbursa on a regular day, I doubt. I really doubt. That's the reality of life. But when I work with writers, sabi ko nga, I choose the good ones. The legendary writers. I really don't change much. Siguro nag-meeting kami twice ni Lualhati, and then he does one, and then I suggest na ang ending ng dekada, gawin na lang natin pagkamatay ni Ninoy. Kasi that ends the whole era. Kasi the whole era is declaration of martial law. So ang ending niyan is the shooting of Ninoy. So she agreed naman and wrote it. Tapos even kay Roy Iglesias sa Dahas, sabi ko, let's open with the senior. May nagsaksakan sa gitna ng Olongapo and they were eating spaghetti or burger inside the restaurant.
So na direct, no? Balikan lang natin yung dekada 70, no? Kasi nabasa ko rin That was originally a novel by Lualhati Bautista, no?
It was written by Lualhati Bautista.
Exactly. So you chose that project when it was still a novel. Gusto mong gawing pelikula. Pero sabi mo nga, you decided on a different ending from the
Yes.
novel, no? And then si Lualhati din ang gumawa, no?
Oh, you have to remember that I did Bata Bata with Lualhati also. That was before Dekada. And then I found out that Dekada was naluluma na with Viva. Because there was another star. Oh, I'm saying pa. Who would not do it anymore. And so I got Vilma to do it. And Star agreed for me to do it. So they got the rights from Viva. And then excited si Lualhati. Sulat ang Dekada. Yun na yun. So, my process is not really complicated. It's not even controversial. Even with Private Show and Ricardo Lee, hindi naman kami nahirapan eh. Kasi I also write scenes. Sometimes nagpapaalam na lang ako, oy, dagdag natin to, ang ganda-ganda. Like for example, yung sa itanong mo sa buwan, napansin ko ang ganda ng ilaw pag nasa ilalim ka ng bahay. Sabi ko, Bing, gawin natin to. Kumakanta-kanta, nagkakaraoke si Jacqueline Jose sa taas habang pinanonood ni sino ba nanonood sa kanya? Who's the mother? I forgot the artista. Pinapanood sa loob, sa ilalim yung nanay. Naglalandian si na Mark sa taas. So, ganun lang. I just added scenes here and there. You know, even with, let's say, with Dahas, Dahas I did nga. Even with basta maraming pelikula. Alam mo naman, sabi mo, dami ko nang ginawa. Nakalimutan ko na yung iba. But I managed to insert. Kasi yun ang inano ko. For me, kung wala kang sarili mo impression sa isang project, then it could just be a generic project. So kailangan ng director, isa sa amin, si June, lahat. May talagang may footprint kami, handprint kami on our films. Otherwise, it's gonna be so generic. Wala talagang mangyari. It will not matter kung sinong gumawa. Kailangan may tatak talaga ng Chitoronyo, ng Pepe, ng kung sino man. May June ka o what. Kailangan may sarili kang ano. So you always coordinate with the writers that the project does not become a Bible. You know, it has to be from the heart of a director. Hindi lang pwedeng writer. Hindi pwedeng puso lang ng writer. Kaya nga binibigay sa director kasi kailangan lagyan ng puso ng director. That's why you also choose directors. You choose a director who's good at love stories, who choose a director who's good at horror, action. You know, you get to choose when you write a script. Di ba ganun ang writers? Alam niyo yun, ano? You write a script. Oh, bagay dito si Sylvester Stallone. Oh, may bida ka na. O bagay dito din ang director. O James Cameron gusto ko. O may idea ka rin. It's an illusion na kung writer ka, wala kang iniisip na director or somebody who will interpret the movie for you. Because if you're a serious writer, alam mo, kalahati ng puso niyan sa director. Diba? It's the same thing. You know, film is not just the ownership is just the writer. Pati artista niya na magaling. They will own the film for themselves. Ganun talaga ang pelikula. It should be an art, an expression, everyone's expression. Hindi lang isang tao. Yun. So, who did I miss? Baka magtampo at nakatape. Even Gina Pagasa, I've worked with her. Joey Reyes, nagsulat. June Lano pala, wala pa tayong wala pa rin tayo natuloy. Hanggang meeting lang tayo noon. Okay, yun lang.
I wanted to ask, kunyari, yung rewind, no? Yung binigay sa yung script, I'm wondering how complete the script is when it comes to the characters. No? Halimbawa, yung Ding Dong character, he was a chain smoker there, no? Sa script pa lang, chain smoker na siya? Or ikaw
I
nagdagdag
added
nun?
that. I added that.
Okay.
Kasi parang feeling ko, biglang nagka-heart attack. Saan ang galing? Parang wala dun sa
Oops,
earlier
spoiler.
scenes. Eh, siguro naman napanood na. Kung hindi, sorry. So anyway, parang ang ano lang dun is, like what yung si Direk Chito said, na parang when you receive the script, lalagyan mo talaga ng ano mo doon, ng touch mo, and you see it through your eyes eh. So it's your vision. The script was given to me buo. Just a backstory, it's not normal sa akin na makareceive ng buo na script. So, I mean, that's the reality. I just have to say it. So, nasanay ako na concept ang sasabihin sa akin, I'll get the treatment, and then I'll start shooting. I only have like half of the script. It's happened to me. So this is a first actually, or one of the few times na buo yung script. It was given to me 2019, I think, or early 2020. And si Zell Martinez called me and she said, meron akong papadala sa yung script, basahin mo. Kasi I think bagay sa'yo. And that's what Direk Chito was saying. Parang meron kang in mind na magde-direct ng pelikula based on the story. So when I read it, talagang sabi ko, oh my gosh, kailangan ko tong gawin. Kailangan ko tong gawin because talagang naramdaman ko siya. And I really, this is a film that, yung parang sa akin, dream film siyang gawin. And sa totoo, biglang nag-pandemic and all, and we were meeting during the pandemic because even if it was a full script, I have to tell the writer my vision for it. What do I need to adjust or parang, and ano yung revisions that he will make based on my vision. Because like what was discussed yesterday, a script is turned over to the director. So when it was turned over to me and I was going to do the film na, we were meeting to discuss my vision. And even with Star Cinema, we had a meeting na meron kaming vision alignment. So para at least we are all aligned. Okay, this is, what's your treatment, Direk? Tinanong nila sa akin. So parang along the way, syempre, meron ako talaga mga in-adjust. And even while we were filming it, like the character of, yung kay Dong na character, medyo mas buo na siya. Pero yung kay Marian, that's where I added. Kasi sabi ko, you know I have a lot of friends na they are homemakers. And I hear what they say. Kasi I'm not one, obviously. So I hear what they say. I know what they're lamenting. Alam ko yung mga angst ng iba. So alam ko na parang I understand where Mary is coming from. And that's why I had that whole monologue of her aria adjusted. Pinarevise ko yun. In Star Cinema kasi, even if there's it was written by Enrico Santos, sa Star Cinema, they always assign like a creative assistant on set who will be there, or like a creative manager who's on set. And then, if you need to revise, like some lines, ganyan, adjust it, someone is there to, kasi minsan, there are no heads. Like, the scene starts with this na, but I need like a lead in. So I have the writers on set to, to fill in those, Pero sometimes, ako na yon. Those little things, parang as long as it doesn't change the soul of the story, okay lang kahit hindi ko na itawag yon. Pero yung mga major, like that one, the aria, we called Enrico about it. I asked him parang, basta we had discussions also. And then he also said na, yung further revisions, yung si Daisy na yung mag-a-adjust on set. So she was there on set. That's a process of Star Cinema. They always have somebody who can, write, adjust, or revise.
So yung nasa set na assistant, writer din yun?
Yes. We have the creative manager who's there also. Kasi nga, ganun yung system of Star Cinema. They have a creative manager and a creative assistant. If the creative manager isn't there, the creative assistant is there also. But prior to that, napag-usapan na yon. We've already had like meetings with Enrico. Those are just like, some adjustments. Like, Like meron mga nangyayari on set, 'di ba? It's a living set. Meron mga naging adjustments ka because of concerns. So, 'yun, I have the writers adjust it on set. Pero basically, for Rewind, it was whole. As in, buong-buo siya, and that's what we all loved about it. I mean, kami in unison, si Marian, ako, si Dong, and the producers all loved the story and the script. So, parang hindi na siya yung major na adjustment. Talagang buong-buo siya.
Siguro the audience naman has heard that there are really main two approaches to movie making, yung mainstream and then yung indie, no? Who wants to talk about that? Ano ba yung difference? Who among you have had experiences in both? Maybe all of you? I don't know. June, what's the difference?
As a director, there's really no difference. I mean, you approach every project with as much authenticity and passion. Ang nagbibigay lang naman ng label doon, yung yung budget. I mean, if it's a small scale film, then they call it an indie. Or kung pelikula siya na may mga artistang hindi masyadong kilala, they call it an indie. Pero kung may mga malalaking artista, kahit gaano pa ka-intimate, even if it's a chamber drama, it's considered mainstream. But may adjustment kang ginagawa. Like when I make mainstream movies, I have a particular audience to satisfy, and I know that audience, and I adjust the way I mount my scenes. I require a little bit more from my actors. It's different I don't know, pero kasi siguro dahil nag-regal ako, pag nag-regal ka kasi, if you survive regal, you can do anything. parang yung mga unang pelikula ko sa regal, parang indie. Parang pito camera pa yung ginagamit ko. Oo, I mean, bibigyan nila ako ng mga 10 days, and I think yung una kong pelikula, 7 days. And then, nung gumagraduate na ako sa 15 days, parang, oh my God, parang mainstream na. And nung naka 23 days ako, parang feeling ko, made na ako, naka-mainstream na. Nakita ko, mas marami na ako. Nasa 100 na yung pagkain namin na piniprepare. Parang, mainstream na to, hindi na to yung dati na mga 30 lang kami na nasa Boracay pero wala kaming makunan, tapos minsan wala kaming makain. So yung budget talaga yung nag-iiba. Pero as a director, yung the way you approach your craft is still the same. Siguro ako ang mas struggle ko as a director, dahil kalimitan ako yung nagsusulat sa mga ginagawa ko, and I'm lucky nagkaroon ako ng producer mentor who was very kind, at the same time very honest with me, si Mr. Tony Toviera. At one point, inupo niya ako at sinabi niya sa akin na yung script mo maganda, pero kapag yung pelikula mo kasing ganda ng script mo, may pagkukulang ka bilang director. Parang sundun ko na realize na kailangan kong ihiwalay yung sarili ko bilang director sa pagiging writer. Kasi nung una ako nagsimula na mag-direct ng mga script ko, I was parang yung writer ang nagdi-direct. Parang yung rhythm na naisip ko for example, kung paano dapat i-deliver ang isang line, ini-impose ko sa actors. Yung set na naiisip ko, kung paano ko siya na-imagine, dapat yan yung makitang set. So, and then until I realized, it's a community. I need to be collaborative. And then I also need to find the magic in the moment, because there are things that happen when you're shooting a movie na during that time, you need to capture that. Whether it's in the script, kung wala siya sa script, try to capture that moment. So when I realized that I need, for example, to give my actors the space to interpret a scene, to deliver a scene, kapag may monologue ako na hindi nag-work, tas may particular way na gustong i-deliver yung artista, I need to honor that and see if that can work. And when I realized na, yung pala yung dapat kong gawin, nahihiwalay ko na yung sarili ko bilang director, I think mas dun ako nag-prosper as a
I
storyteller.
have to ask you, June, no? Kasi napanood ko yung Your Mother's Son dun sa premiere, no? Yung, how much space did you give your actors dun sa mga sex scene?
Oh, the sex scene, the sex scenes, because I wanted them to feel safe. Naka-storyboard yun. Kasi masyadong intimate masyadong very provocative, graphic. So it was choreographed like a dance. Parang malinaw kung hanggang saan yung pwedeng galawin ng mga artista. So naka-choreograph talaga yun. And I would show them the storyboard to make them feel safe, to make them understand that ito lang yung kukunan ko, and then magiging maingat ako sa inyo. And yun, so for the intimate scenes, that's clear. Pero for all the other scenes, like for example, the confrontation and everything, I had something in mind, but when we were shooting it, the actors were giving me something else, and I thought, mas okay to. So it's really a collaboration. I allow them to move. I allow them the space to be storytellers themselves. Hindi lang ako yung storyteller The cameraman, the cinematographer, they're storytellers. And when you allow people to shine, kung ano man yung trabaho nila dun sa production, everybody benefits from that. So, and then, minsan nga unfair kasi ang isang pelikula laging binibigay yung honor sa director Pero it's a work by an entire community.
May kinikwento si Jose Javier Reyes kahapon, no? Si Joey Reyes. Yung isang frustration daw niya is when the script is submitted, meron daw hindi lang director daw ang sumusuri, no? There's a creative committee sometimes na iba-iba yung pananaw, iba-iba yung mga sinasabi sa kanya na i-revise. And that actually became a kind of humorous moment, no? Because he was so exasperated by those situations. Kailan ba nagaganap yung mga ganong someone looking over your shoulder? Ano ba yan? Does that happen in, sorry but does that only happen with big companies or also in indie movies? Sa indies also cost money, no? I suppose it's part of the reason is, for revisions is, I guess hindi kaya ng budget yung buong pelikula, no? Or hindi kayang gawin ng yung eksena doon sa naka-budget. I'm just speculating here kung bakit. Kasi si Joey Reyes was saying, minsan daw pinarevise sa kanya 7 beses or something like that, no? Until he wanted to give up, except he was under contract, so he had to finish the project, no?
I was, to be honest, the first movie I did with Star, I was so terrified. Kasi hindi ako sanay yung baka may committee nga kasi naririnig ko lagi. Pero nung sinabi ko I should be open to this experience, because I might learn something from this experience. Okay naman sa akin. Parang in the same manner that every director has a different approach to storytelling, I think when you work with different film outfits, bawat isa sa kanila may kanya-kanyang process. And if I think you're open to that, you might learn something. And I approach it that way. And I did learn a lot from that experience. In fact, I felt also it helped me because I was telling a story that's going to be produced by Star, then I am catering to an audience na para sa Star. So kailangan ko rin maintindihan yun. Kasi as an indie filmmaker, sometimes I just really, para sa akin to. Hindi ko iniisip yung audience.
Naalala ko yung one time gumawa ako naalala mo Star Drama?
Yes, direct.
Gumawa ako black and white, saka envelope. Gandang-ganda ako sa sarili ko. Kaya lang, tinawag ko si Charo Santos. Sabi niya, wag nung ulitin yan, ha. Talagang sinabi niya, wag mong ulitin yan, ha. So, tumigil na ako mag-experiment ng TV.
I think it's because big studio, big money. Pera nila yan You have to accept the fact. It's not your
Nakita
money.
ng budget ng Star.
Oo. So, pera nila yan. So, wag kang magmaganda dahil kasi hindi mo pera yung 40 million. I mean, at least before we had budgets like that. So you understand that it's a business. You understand when you come into that, when you agree to do a film with a big film studio, you understand that it's a business. You understand that you're working for a company. You understand that it's not your money and they have a say on where they're going to put their money. So they have the right to do that. And from what I understand is even in Hollywood, ganun din sila, may mga producers na nagko-comment. They have like, diba, they have a viewing. They have a viewing of the producers have a viewing. They comment on it too because of that. Primarily, pera nila yan. Siyempre, gusto nilang siguraduhin na yung pera nila pupunta sa gusto nila. And they have to earn. Hindi ka nila bibigyan ng, ito, limpak-limpak na pera. Sige, bahala ka na. Tapos, ay, bakit ganyan? Hindi pwedeng ganon. So they have to, along the way, they are monitoring it. First rushes, pinapanood na nila. They tell you, hey, good job. Or parang, we're on the right track. Because you have a vision alignment naman from the get-go. So umpisa pa lang, alam nyo na naman kung ano yung kailangan ng film. Pag lumilihis ka, doon ka na kinakalabit. Na parang, teka sandali, di ba pinag-usapan natin, ito ang treatment natin. Di ba rom-com tayo, bakit nagiging horror? Or parang ganun. So, parang there is, they're there, or the reason why there's a creative committee is because, syempre, binabantayan nila because ganun talaga pag big studios. Pera nila yan eh. Now, if I want na mas may creative freedom ako, tataya ako sa sarili kong money. Gagawa ko that's when, meron tuloy yun that burning passion to do my own film. So, because, syempre, hindi ko nagagawa yun. Hindi ko nagagawa as much. Syempre, a director still has a vision. You're not a puppet. You're not there to just, execute it. The reason why they still get you is because they want to see your heart and your soul in the film. So it's not like they're just dictating everything. So I think that's the fear of others, or at least that's the misconception, that you become a puppet or you become like an executioner lang. But no, hindi ka taga-execute lang. And that's what they always say then to the directors, that it's still your vision. What is your vision? And they ask you about it. What is your vision? Just explain it to us, because that's what we want. That's the reason why we're getting you. We believe that you have a vision for this film, and that you have good output or great output for this type of project.
Okay, I want to ask now about research and preparation. No? Before we go to the Q&A lang. Halimbawa, dun sa Kita-Kita, no? Sa Sig, one of your characters is blind. No? Si Alex De Rossi character. No? Did you have to research about blindness and how blind people, did you have to learn, let's say, Braille? And ano bang preparation mo to direct a character who is blind?
Definitely, kailangan ng research about it, and also yung research sa Japan. I've been to Japan so many times, pero never pa sa Hokkaido. And at that time, sobrang, yung binigay sa akin, wala daw budget pang ocular. Paano? Hindi ko nga alam yung Hokkaido eh. So, kailangan akong mag-internet talaga, Google talaga. And I had to watch mini vlogs, not the commercial type, like personal vlogs sa YouTube, kasi mas real. And it was very difficult for me to write it because ganun, siguro, yung difference lang kasi sinadirect dito, may mga, may formal training. I don't have a formal training in writing. In fact, yung short film ko was bullet type. So, hindi naintindihan din ng staff ko, ano to? Basta alam ko to. Alam ko siya gawin. Pero wala akong training sa script at that time. So, I think yung naging process ko lang is, since nag-AD ako, nag-PPA ako, kinukuha ko yung mga script ng mga shows and ng mga film, and pinag-aaralan ko siya. So, sobrang self-study. So, that's why until now, gusto ko rin mag-workshop because may process eh. But I think yung like, for example, with all of my films, nakita ko ang process ko talaga, I get to be, it's really the emotions and the mood as a writer. So at that time, so in every film that I make, ano yung status ng mind ko at that time or status ko in life. So it's kinda, sa totoo lang, to be honest, it's very difficult for me to write something kasi the pros of that is that, yun nga yung sasabing direct, andun talaga yung tatak mo. Kasi eto talaga to because andito yung footprint mo talaga na ikaw to dahil based to sa experience mo eh. So when I was writing Kita-Kita, I was having you know ba, ano ko? Parang, hindi, I was having kakaproblema lang ako noon at that time sa personal problem. And then, it's so funny because hindi ako kumakain ng saging. So, nagsimula lang sa saging eh. And then, kasi pag may problema ka in life, na-affect yung health mo. And then sabi sa akin nung doctor, kailangan kumain so naglasing ako, ganyan. Meron akong mga pinagdaanan ng mga time na yon. Nabali yung pa ako. So hindi ako nakalakad. I thought ano lang siya, tapilok lang. And then na-realize ko na pwede pala magpabago ng buhay mo yung isa mo lang pagkakamali. Because sabi sa akin ng doctor na parang, ilang taong ka na? Baka hindi na gumaling. So, what? Hindi na ako makakalakad. Ganon. So, parang dun ko na-realize, kumain ka ng saging, ganon, calcium, ganon. Ha? Saging lang yung katapat nito? Yung hindi na ako makakalakad? So, actually, yun talaga yung inspiration doon. It's really more on a deeper level. Not only yung being blind. It's really yung paano mo gagawa ng paraan, yung ginawa mo na pinili, alam mong mali, pero pinili mo pa rin yung mali.
Para sa mga
Parang
hindi
ganon.
nakapanood, yung saging kasi
Saging, CM po yun
paulit-ulit
eh.
yung
Yeah.
visual motif na yon sa
Yes,
pelikula, no?
oo. So parang siya yung nagbigay ng inspiration doon talaga. But being blind is actually, parang for me kasi is, may mga bagay tayo na gusto lang natin makita. Hindi yun yung mas interpretation sa akin of being blind. Mas may gusto tayo. Minsan para tayong kabayo eh. So you just have to take that out kung ano man yun nandito. Kasi yung kabayo, di ba, merong ganun lagi, yung ganun. Kasi para makafocus sila sa dinadaanan nila. But sometimes yung focus na dinadaanan mo, you should open more. Alam mo yun, kailangan mong pag tinanggal mo, mas marami kang makikita ng tao, mas marami kang makikita na parang mas mag-encourage sa'yo in life and all. Parang mas ganun yung interpretation ko, more than the physicality of being blind talaga. It's really on a deeper level. So, but then of course, I had to research on that. Siyempre, pagiging blind and paano maging blind sa ibang bansa. So, yun talaga yun.
Yeah, thank you. Well, speaking of research, no, yung Gomburza, ibang klase yung research ng ginawa mo doon, no? Well, history is very contentious, no? At and very political, no? So, ano yung approach mo rito? Were you afraid of getting in trouble with historians?
Yes.
Kasi Gomburza, of course, is about the Cavite Mutiny, and it was a version of history, no? So tell us about yung research doon.
Well, maybe in connection to the previous question also, when I entered the project, Jescom, who produced the film, had already started developing it with another director, actually, and another writer. So they had a full script already. And yes, prior to pandemic po. And when I read the script, same as Zig, hindi ko nakita yung sarili ko in it. So I had pitched another take, different from the plot. So totally ibang plot. But syempre, because it's history, andun na yung research. It's just a matter of reordering things and limiting also. Yun ang sabi ko sa kanila, I would like to get Roddy to write this, Roddy Vera. And they said yes, I was very lucky. So the research was built in, but yun parang I think prep and script writing is not a linear process. Hindi siya parang sisimula sa research and then you write. Research is part of the way throughout. You always go back and forth between what's written in the script, research, and then as you live your life, or even when you're already doing ocular, you can find something that will totally change a scene. So you go back to it's really parang a cycle. I think you go back and forth until you have to shoot, and then it's already there. But yeah, it's really built in, and I think research was always part of the process, even until the end. Even when we were doing post-production also, there were little things that I would pick up. Ay, dapat nandun yun. So we would go back and then put in those little elements.
Yeah, I guess yung challenge sa gumagawa ng historical films is kasi in feature films, I mean, they're fiction, no? But at the same time, yung ginawa nyo, historical film, no? And so, inevitably, may magni-nitpick, no? But you have like creative freedom naman na mag-imbento rin, di ba? As a
Yes.
filmmaker. At the same time, may pressure ka sa mga historian, yung mga bashers na, sandali, hindi naman talaga nangyaring ganyan. O, talagang nang-iimbento lang to si Pepe Diokno ng kasaysayan.
But there were really parts that I meant talaga. That's why at the start of the film we say that it's a work of it's a story based on history. But as unlucky rin kasi na yung tita ko is a historian. She used to head the historical commission.
Si Maris Diokno.
Yes. So she was my first litmus test. Script pa lang pinabasa ko na sa kanya. And the comment that she had was, meron naman kayong disclaimer sa simula, no? And actually, I had wanted to put a long disclaimer, like a paragraph long, at the start of the film, because there are some things na parang the presence of, if you've seen it, but the presence of Jose Rizal in the execution is a creative license. The characterization of Francisco Zaldúa is also a creative license. So I had wanted to put the very long paragraph disclaimer, and then our producers at Jescom said, teka, parang natatakot ka. Parang ayaw naman natin na magmukhang natatakot tayo. Hindi, ito yun, it's a film. So we just need one sentence to say that it's inspired by history. And that's what we went with. But yeah, and I think naintindihan naman I think, yeah.
Okay, sige. Question time. Okay, may question dito sa second row. Yeah, if you can pass it. Okay.
Hello mga direk, I am Joaquin. Meron po akong tanong meron po bang puwang ang mga aspiring directors like me who are humble to a fault, almost like a pushover, to add how to find your voice as a filmmaker or as a director na magkaroon ba ng paninindigan sa material na gawa mo? Yes po, I acknowledge that filmmaking is a collaborative effort, but is being a pushover a poison sa isang production?
Are any of you pushovers? Parang I get the impression you need a kind of an alpha personality to be a director. Kasi you're directing lots of people, di ba?
There was a term I heard, yung parang wala pang pangil. I've heard someone say that, walang taong to wala pang pangil. And I think when you start, and as you do the work, you will develop your pangil.
Direk Chito, are you a pushover?
Bait-bait ko no. Siguro pag umpisa, wag mong isipin sarili mo na magdidirect ka agad. Take it from these girls. They started from the bottom. You take all the bullshit, make your own coffee, make everybody's coffee, count their meals, and then you grow up to be somebody that you were meant to be. Okay?
Great advice.
People evolve. Sa umpisa talaga, wala ka pang confidence. And that's why there's a tendency to be a pushover. And sa kagustuhan mo at sa gigil mo mag-direct, kahit anong sabihin nila, gagawin mo. And I've experienced that. Na parang sa umpisa, parang yes, because I want to do this, I want to direct. And if you're going to give me the chance, sige, what do you want? Then you realize, then you find your way. You find your, parang, teka, hindi ko gusto yun hindi ko gusto yan. There are things that you will learn along the way. You don't know everything from the beginning. At matututunan mo yan, as my dad would say, experience really is the best teacher. And what you're learning from the bottom is experience. You can't put a price tag on experience. So, kumbaga, magsimula ka, matuto ka muna, mag-aral ka para malaman mo kung anong okay sa'yo at hindi okay. And I think magiging importante dyan kasi kung alam mo prinsipyo mo. Kasi pag hindi mo alam ang prinsipyo mo at hindi mo kilala sarili mo, oo ka sa lahat talaga.
All right, that's a good question. Next question, please. Name and konting background mo.
I'm Elle po, and currently I'm directing a theater play po sa school namin, and I wanna ask the directors po on how they direct their actors effectively, especially when they don't get the actions or the emotions that the directors want. How would they communicate effectively to the actors po?
Are you obliged to get those actors? Because we can always fire them. Classmates po ba? O kami na sa backstage.
Ano po sila, mga actors na schoolmates na pinag-audition po for acting.
Well, siguro kasi yung background ko naman, I'm from theater, so I'm really trying my best to incorporate it pagdating ko dito sa film. So I think with regards to acting, very important yun nga, na parang meron kaming reading muna ng script para at least alam ng actors kung anong intention mo as a director. We have the reading. I always get an acting coach. And even if ako mismo nag-acting workshops, kumukuha pa rin ako ng acting coach because it's very difficult to be a director, especially when you are on set. Ang dami mong concern, kung ano naman mga concern mo, pati producers mo concern mo, 'di ba? So gusto ko lang na merong nakatutok sa artista na very important sa akin yung acting. And so merong process yung acting coach na yon kung paano na kailangan in sync kami kung ano yung gusto ko doon sa character. So we do the script reading. I tell them my intentions. Usually 10 days yan. Pero syempre walang budget yung mga ibang film.
Are you a student? Are you also directing?
Yes
We
po.
used to have what we call the Dulaang Lab. You still have it?
Dulaang Lab po.
I
Nag-Dulaang
directed
Lab po
for
ako.
Dulaang Lab also. But it's a student production. It's not expected to be super spectacularly professional. Okay? You sew your own costume, you paint your own set, you do everything. You do your own lighting. Ganyan. You do ang Dulaang Lab style theater. Intimate lang siya at hindi ganun ka-sophisticated.
I've done exercises on set, may workshop on the set na look at each other. At syempre galing yan Olivia Lamasan School of Workshop on the set. Na tingnan mo yung, look at each other. What's your favorite part ng eyes or ng face? Titigan mo. Tapos nun, basta yung mga exercises na ganyan on set. So, para talaga meron ka mga ganong workshops to make them feel it. As professionals, from the get-go naman kasi, kailangan mo silang iupo. You have to set expectations that, guys, we are working, we are not here to play. I know. I don't care about what's going on between the two of you. Basta nagtatrabaho tayo. So that's always parang essential in every project, especially in doing love stories. Especially if you're doing love teams. Especially if you're doing on-screen and off-screen na may relationship.
I can also add to that. I haven't done a love story film, but I have done mga kwentong Jollibee and branded short films, which are love stories, mga Valentine's. And on those kinds of projects, a lot of times the actors are many times they're commercial actors. They're not film or TV actors, so they don't come, with baon, and they had done all those workshops. But you need to feel yung connection na yun, otherwise the client's gonna be like, teka, ano nangyayari? So with that, you really have to be technical about it. And as a director, you need to know kung ano yung beats sa eksena na para, dito pagpasok niya, dapat makita niya si ganon, ito yung nararamdaman niya, and dapat makatch mo yun. So sometimes you really have to simulate it na you'll sort of shoot them separately and then motivate them also differently. Many times, because they're not professional film TV actors, I really have to figure out what makes them click. Sometimes I'll have to ask, sino ba best friend? Ano pangalan ng best friend mo? Can you imagine your best friend in front of you? Ano pangalan ng asawa mo? Imagine that person or your boyfriend, etc. So you really have to know also as a director what the beats of that scene are. What, for example, in a dialogue, saan magta-transform yung relationship ng dalawa. And then you have to drill it down. So there's responsibility also on both ends, on the actor side, but also on the director side, to sort of bring out that, I guess, that chemistry or what the scene needs.
Wow. Ang gaganda ng sharing, no? This has been a real master class. So, I just want to thank, all of these master directors, Zig, Sigrid, May, Junlana, Direk, Chito, Pepe Diokno. Pati ako, actually, I learned so much from you guys. Maraming salamat. Mabuhay ang pelikulang Pilipino. Thank you.